I just want to make music. I don't want to be a content creator. I don't want to have to post on TikTok. I don't want to have to do Instagram, Twitter, whatever, XYZ. And I get it. And I'm sorry, but also, like, I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, you just kind of have to deal with it.
Welcome back to another episode of Successfully Unsigned, the music business podcast, where our goal is to help rookie artists make their way in the music industry. Today, we want to talk about the ever-hated topic of social media. It's something that many find daunting and many find difficult to successfully integrate into their workflow. It does take a lot out of you, but we're going to peel back a few layers once again in our podcast and talk about a few examples and a few things that we've learned from experience and have seen from other people on how to more effectively use your social media to help you as an artist. That includes topics like consistency, aesthetic, using memes, making a campaign for your releases, and many other things if you're going the DIY route rather than using a label. And make sure to stick around for our third segment where we get back into the topic of Universal Music Group and TikTok and their most recent updates of making peace. Once again, if you like this podcast, please help us out and hit that like and subscribe. Rate us on your favorite streaming platform, be it Spotify, be it Apple Podcasts, Samsung Podcast, wherever you're listening from. And check out our website at su-podcast.com. There, you can sign up for a monthly newsletter to get behind-the-scenes tips, tricks, and information from your favorite music business podcast, Successfully Unsigned.
Yeah.
Gonna rap again?
Why did we stop wearing headphones?
What are you talking
I
about?
always feel like
You can't hear that?
I can't hear the
You
music.
can't hear it? It's on, dude.
Oh.
Your mic's
Yeah.
not even pointed at your mouth, man.
Dude,
No wonder
okay,
you can't hear
told
it.
me that I should start doing this, so I'm not like,
I said you should bring it down
no, I'm talking about one of the last times.
and then out to the side. Well, not like pointing to the side. You still got to point at your mouth.
Well,
It's the
where-
microphone.
Y'all, this is our last episode. We're breaking up. I
Yeah.
can't handle him anymore.
Whichever way your microphone's pointing, we're glad you're here.
Someday we'll talk about
this-
teach you how to aim a mic.
Maybe next episode.
Maybe next
when
episode.
we talk about gear.
Yeah, the gear episode. Yeah. Welcome everyone to the show. We are back with another episode. Hope you went and watched our interview with
What's our show called?
It's called Successfully Unsigned. Welcome.
What's the website?
The website. They're trying to trip me up. It's su-podcast.com.
Hey! Hooray! Or whatever
Hooray.
that little soundbite sounds like.
Yeah.
It's the Taylor
Hopefully
Swift
it's
one.
that one.
It's fine. No, it's Taylor Swift. But welcome, and I hope you went and watched our interview with Justin Eberhardt. It was a wonderful, wonderful discussion, and we learned a lot of things. I learned a lot from the interview, so
Yeah. I
learned
love
a lot.
Justin. He's so
Yeah.
cool.
Really cool guy. But today we are going to talk a little bit about social media presence and how important it is, and how
Some of y'all need to step it up.
Yeah, how vital it
Yeah,
is
Patrick.
to growth and fan base and all of that, especially in today's age, where social media is everything, whether it be TikTok or Instagram or whatever it may be, or X or Twitter, or whatever you want to call it. Do you guys call it Twitter or X?
Twitter.
Twitter.
It's Twitter.
Still Twitter. Yeah.
Do either of y'all use Threads?
No. Should I? Maybe I should.
I don't
guess
know.
We'll
I
get
think
into that.
that's
We'll
what
get
I don't
into
know.
that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But
I don't know.
first, we're going to do some show and yell in this first little segment. So, who wants to begin? Dale, would you like to begin?
Sure. It's my thesis.
I actually thought you were going to do your graduation cap.
Oh, that's a good
Thesis?
one. That's a good one. I should have done that. Maybe on the next episode.
Okay.
That's your
Yeah.
thesis?
This is my thesis.
That's kind of small. You shouldn't have passed.
Shut up, dude.
It's all probably double spaced.
It is double spaced, but this book is also printed back and front. It's 155 pages, all about Dante audio over IP stuff. Pretty proud with the end result of it. If you are not familiar with audio over IP stuff and you're engineering, and you want to get kind of a look at it, not just in like, okay, here's how you use like a specific program, but also kind of the under the hood aspects of how audio over networks work. Maybe I'm biased, but I do think that this does have a pretty solid entry foundational explanation of what different aspects of networking is and how that relates to audio. A little bit of history, a little bit of practical knowledge, all in that kind of vein. So
our next episode, Dale's just going to read that front to back.
I'll do it.
That's what the whole episode's going to be.
That's going to be a whole season.
Okay.
Whole season.
I'll do it.
That's
I'll
gonna
do
be
it.
a season.
I'll do it.
Season
I even
4.
got
In your
pictures.
NPR voice.
Season 4.
I'll do it.
Dale's thesis. It's actually kind of
But yeah, it has all that in the front, and then the back half of this is case studies of the experiments and the sessions that I conducted as part of this thesis. Is kind of the creative aspect and details like what happened, what we did, what worked, what didn't work, what we learned, stuff like that. David was actually there for one or two of those. I know at least one where we were tying Studios D&E together for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time I was tying two recording studios together with this technology, and talks about some of the challenges and some of the things that we faced that day. It's fun. Yeah. So my thesis, my last whole year of work, printed and bound.
Dude,
and
how does it feel for it to be over?
Dude, hasn't hit me yet.
You look so happy in those graduation photos.
Oh,
Like,
Yes,
just so
big
relieved.
congratulations to Dale for completing his
Give it up.
master's.
He's been in
and
school for 12 years, and now it's finally over.
Feels like
longer
it.
than that.
Yeah, it's been a lifetime. Congrats,
no,
man.
Thank you.
Really.
I
Thank
am so proud of you.
Dude,
So when is your doctorate?
boy.
Not happening. Well, actually, I take that back. As I've said before, I am going to get the best kind of doctorate there is,
Experience.
the honorary kind. I'm going to get an honorary doctorate someday. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something cool enough that a university bestows on me an honorary
like
doctorate.
Taylor Swift. Didn't she get that?
Wouldn't know.
I have no idea.
Clue.
I was thinking like Shaquille O'Neal, but I think he actually earned
did he?
his. I think he legitimately earned his doctorate.
Okay.
I forget in what, but I was hearing that just the other day. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna get an honorary doctorate. Steve Jobs got an honorary doctorate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bill Gates too, I think.
I don't doubt it.
But anyway, so someday I'll do that, and you
Yay,
know.
Dale.
Yeah.
We're so proud of him.
But until then, I'm done.
Go
with- I'm done with
congratulate
that.
him at DShack official.
Congratulate him by donating to us, to our podcast.
Yes.
Do that. Yes.
Donations.
True.
Gee.
Who's
Um,
next?
Donations.
Okay.
Is it an outfit again?
No.
Oh.
Well, sort of. McDonald's Crocs.
Oh, I was like, is this man about to kick me?
I was gonna try and like go fully upside down, but it just wasn't gonna work.
That did not work.
Upside
You
down.
showed everybody like the
Yeah.
soul of your Crocs.
Oh, wow. What's this? Oh, that's the burger.
Oh my goodness.
Nice. You have a lot of McDonald's things, I feel like.
I truly love McDonald's, except, well, no, I want them to sponsor me, but at the same time, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I've kind of like sworn it off because it really does just hurt my stomach every time. But McDonald's, if you're listening to this, please sponsor me. I'll eat it every day. I don't care.
Patty G,
Exactly.
double patty.
So I was a big
McPatty?
hater of Crocs for a long time. Even though I'd had a pair in third grade. But they kept coming out with these collaborations where I was like,
They got him with that
Not the move.
pop culture thing.
I might have to get
Pop
these.
culture?
So they had the Shrek ones, which my cousin got. Well, we got him those for Christmas, and I was like, those are really cool, but no. Lisa Frank, cool, but no.
Mm-hmm.
Cars, cool, but no. And then they released the McDonald's ones. I was like, I need every single one. I need these ones. I want the Hamburglar ones. I want the Grimace ones, which are really hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
But I love Birdie. So these are the ones I chose. Shout out to my parents for getting me these for Christmas. And I will say, I low-key do take back everything bad I've ever said about Crocs because they are extremely comfortable. So I am a Crocs reformist. And
Yeah.
Crocs, please also sponsor us. McDonald's and Crocs.
Do you not think Crocs are on the way out?
Waffle House. Too.
No. Oh my gosh.
Waffle House, too.
Everyone I know loves Crocs.
Really? Okay.
So many people.
Interesting.
And like, I'm serious. Like, I want to get a pair for camp that I'm going to that I don't mind like getting messed up because they are really, really comfortable.
I do feel like they've passed the popular hate stage. Like there was that time, and that like everybody hated on Crocs because they were Crocs, and it was like the popular thing. It's kind of like how people treated Nickelback for like forever. Kind of still a little bit them too, still. But I feel like Crocs have passed that like popular. It's popular to hate them, kind of like Uggs. Like you can make fun of them, but that's nobody really does that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I know so many people with Crocs, like they're very popular. So,
right.
Also, it's not my show and yell, but shout out to my Hannah Montana shirt from Five Below. Also sponsor us, Five Below. We're just gonna get so many sponsors from this episode.
Oh yeah.
But I love Hannah Montana. Y'all know that I do. We really should redo our Miley Cyrus segment, and I'll wear this now that I have the full shirt, dolls, and everything.
You just
I bought this recently. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Her face is a little washed out, but that's okay. Five Below, you can still sponsor us.
Yeah.
Okay, David.
All right. Show posters. So this is why I'm so grateful to the few fans that I do have, because they're so supportive. I played a show in my hometown at a little coffee shop, and shout out. Were you at the show?
No, I wasn't at that show.
We weren't at the show.
I heard about it, but I didn't get to go.
Yeah. Shout out Whitney. I'm not going to use last names, but shout out Whitney. Shout out Cassie. Shout out Savannah. I'm about to.
Oh, okay.
It's my show. So they made me these posters. The first one just says "Go David." It says "Sing your heart out. You're awesome. You rock." But on the back, this is the part that's really cool. They have all these like affirmations. It's like, so it's.
Oh, I couldn't see that from here.
Success doesn't just come and find you. You have to go out and get it. A little
That's so
progress
sweet.
each day adds up to a big result. And it's like all of these. Really, life is about making an impact, not making an income. Well, you know, but
do give us money.
But yes, that's what I mean.
At su-podcast.com.
Starve your distractions, feed your focus. I mean, this is all great stuff. It's probably off of some kind of BuzzFeed article, but it's still it meant a lot to me in the time. And like, I remember this coffee shop, it was called like Nimbarista, and it was so dead. Like they were just starting to have like artists perform there. And then I remember when my show came on, like all my family came, my nieces were like on my dad's shoulder, and they were just kind of, it was so cute. And then this one, Savannah, I think, made this one, David's #1 fans. And then on the back of this one, it's "Don't be pushed around by tears in your mind, be led by the dreams in your heart." It's all just, when you read it, you're like, they took the time to make this.
That's awesome.
You know, like they literally, this is like taped together and they cut out little strips. It's just, get you some fans like this, because this is.
I will say people will show up for David's shows. Speaking of, well, this episode won't be out by the time.
Yeah, it's literally 2 days from now. But yeah, thank you, Savannah. Thank you, Whitney. Thank you, Cassie. This was nice, and I just thought I would share it, man, with the podcast community.
Thank you, McDonald's.
Thank you, McDonald's. Kind of.
You know, I had a thought during this.
What?
You talk about like BuzzFeed and all that.
A little bit.
Well, you mentioned them.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about like these sayings. Benjamin Franklin back in the day. Was he just the BuzzFeed of the day? With all his little sayings of wisdom. Hold on. Hear me out. We're talking a penny saved is a penny earned. And stuff like the early bird gets the worm, right? He had all of his little sayings that would go in. What was the name of that newspaper publication?
The Pony Express.
It's not that.
Benjamin Franklin once said, "Only 3 can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead." Wait, only 3 can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead, or something like that. And that was used in the Pretty Little Liars iconic theme song. Only 2 can keep a secret if 1 of them is dead. So I agree.
What's the connection here? I'm struggling.
No, but I'm just thinking, like
Benjamin Franklin.
He had all those like little phrases, right?
Yeah,
and he became. I mean, he was popular for other things too, but he became popular as a writer.
And he's responsible for Pretty Little Liars.
No.
Yes.
That's not where I'm going with this.
What is it?
Benjamin Franklin became popular for writing little phrases like that, and publishing those things, and they became widespread, and that's why we have sayings like "penny saved, penny earned," stuff like that.
That's why he's on the $100 bill.
Yeah.
and why you should give us $100 on our website, su-podcast.com.
This man. But he is right. You should do that. You should do that. But like, is BuzzFeed the modern day Benjamin
think
Franklin?
that's a really far stretch, and I think you're wrong. But
no,
sure.
BuzzFeed is for
they do other
moms in
things
their
too, but
early 40s. And late.
I will say though, I love me a BuzzFeed quiz sometimes, or like the ones where you fill out like
That's what I mean.
how many like how many rom-coms have you seen? And I'm like, ooh, I bet I've seen like 35 out of 40
or it's
of
like
these.
13 seasonal cupcake recipes, and it's just like,
Yeah.
what? I mean,
Or like Disney princesses as different bowls.
yeah.
Like,
What Friends character are you? It's like, I don't
Okay,
really,
those did kind of eat back in the day.
Back in the day,
when those
it's the
first
key
came
phrase
out,
there.
like which of this character or that character or whatever. I'd take some of
Have you
those.
seen those like OMG quizzes on Facebook that are just insane? Like they're just ridiculous. It's like, what dog breed are you?
Oh,
And you just
I know
click
what you're
a
talking
button
about.
and it
I know what
shuffles
you're talking
through
about.
breeds. It's
Yeah.
like, you're a pit bull. It's like, am I
Ooh.
though? No, for me, I think it was a lab, which makes sense because
That does make sense.
labs match my energy. But that's why I have labs. But anyways, so yeah.
What's this show about?
Yeah. So we're going to come back. We're going to take a little break now that we've gone on whatever this is. And we'll be right back. And we're going to discuss the topic tonight, which is social media and brand building.
Thank you once again for listening to Successfully Unsigned. I would like to take a moment during this break to remind you to visit our website at su-podcast.com to view all of the newest and latest content that we put out. Also, do us a huge favor and hit like and subscribe on this YouTube video, and like and rate us on your favorite streaming platform. Each one of those things helps us out tremendously. We would love to hear your thoughts on what artists we should have on next, what content we should cover, what kind of topics we should discuss, and any tips and tricks you might have in the music industry. Thank you for being one of our favorite listeners, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Welcome back to Successfully Unsigned. So today we're talking about social media, which I know just all of you artists love so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best thing about being an artist, man.
Yeah, is that you get
We're
to
all
also
very
be
good
a
at it.
content creator.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. The reason that I wanted to talk about this was just I've been having this conversation a lot lately about our social media, like how we could improve, should improve. We're really good at like being consistent, sharing other people's stories, doing our new Music Tuesday, which you can find that playlist on our website, su-podcast.com. And featuring different artists, everything like that. But as far as like the aesthetic goes, are we on the right track? I don't know. Do we need to have an aesthetic? I don't know. So I'm sure these are questions that you've asked yourself as an artist. I think the other thing that a lot of artists, struggle with is like what I was saying is just, I just want to make music. I don't want to be a content creator. I don't want to have to post on TikTok. I don't want to have to do Instagram, Twitter, whatever, XYZ. And I get it. And I'm sorry, but also, like, I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, you just kind of have to deal with it. And it's like, I get that you don't necessarily want to, you're like, I just want to play the music. Okay, well then that's fine. But just know that music is going to be your hobby. It's not going to be your livelihood by any means. And I think comparing it to like back in the day, I mean, you think about it, it probably in a way was a lot harder to get any sort of traction because you didn't have social media and you didn't have all these different avenues. And there were probably things that were a little bit easier, but as far as like live shows and stuff, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I feel like the conversation has come up a lot lately with artists. And I'm like, I'm sorry that you feel frustrated by it because it is very frustrating. And I totally respect being frustrated by like how the algorithm works and how it can really be against you. But I do think it's one of those things where like, if you want to be an artist, like a serious artist, that is something that you need to accept from the get-go and just let it go. Like just move on, let it go, and understand that that is just now part of the job description. And so I think if you're starting music, like take that into consideration. Is this something that I'm willing to put into the work, not just into my music, because the music itself is hard enough. The networking is also very hard. The, money is very hard, but the branding is one of the most important things you can do. And once again, it's not easy. Like there's so many different aspects to being an artist. So I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts as artists yourselves?
I have a hot take on this.
Preach.
So I think that the artist avenue of, lifestyle, career, whatever you want to call it, is finally caught up to how the rest of the world has been required to live and make money for some time. And I don't mean that specifically with social media, but I mean that in the sense of the self-promotion aspect. Because, you go back in time, if you do get traction and you got signed to a label, they do all the work, right? If you are not signed to a label, it was much harder to get your music out there, like you mentioned, because of financial situations, because of lack of resources, because that was expensive to get your CDs pressed or your vinyls made or whatever. It was expensive to get that stuff out there. Now, however, it's extremely cheap to get stuff out there.
Yeah.
Right. But that now means that labels have a little less of an importance or a requirement, put it that way, to get your own music out there. So more people do it, right? But that also means that their responsibilities are now your responsibilities.
Yeah.
If you're not going to use a label, which is perfectly fine. If you don't want to use a label, don't use a label. Yeah. But understand that if you are going to be an independent artist, are taking on all the responsibilities that they would have taken care of for you on yourself, which means marketing. It means promotion. It means networking. It means getting your stuff out on social media. It means making your own website. It means doing your own email lists. It means doing, your own campaigns on certain aspects and avenues of getting your stuff in front of people, whether it's giveaways, whether it's, live streams, whatever, creating your own plans, enforcing your own plans, right? Making sure that you stick to those things. That's now your responsibility to not only post and do, but to also plan and come up with. And that's kind of the purpose of what labels do, is they get your music out there in front of people, and pull that aspect of the work away from you so you can just be an artist. So you have to find the balance of what you want to do versus what you don't want to do. But starting out, you kind of have to do it all. So I know from like more of a producer's perspective in this regard, if I find someone whose music is amazing, they write good, they play well, maybe they even perform well, but they're not doing anything to personally get their own stuff out there. As a producer, unless they're paying me to come do something for them, I probably would not be seeking out the opportunity to develop them as an artist. Even if their stuff is really good and I'm like, man, this has a lot of potential. You have to have enough drive to push yourself out there if you want to actually make it a career. Because nobody can instill that drive in you.
100%.
Now, maybe you have, self-doubt. A lot of people face that. A lot of people face like anxiety and like, imposter syndrome or whatever. Or just flat out fear of putting your stuff out there. And that's, that's a different issue. Maybe that's a hindrance, but at some point you have to pick a side. Is it going to be a career and you push yourself, or is it a hobby? Which either one is fine. Neither one of those aspects is wrong. But, you have to be willing to put in the work to put yourself out there if you want a career out of that.
And let me say this.
About to say, this feels like a hot take.
If you have, anxiety or struggling with any like mental health issues, which I'm sure a lot of you artists are, myself included.
Part of being an artist at some point.
But that is not anyone else's responsibility. It's just not. And so you can sit there all day and be like, oh, well, I didn't do this because of my anxiety, or I didn't do this because of XYZ. Like, I just can't handle the social media because okay, that's fine. Not my problem. But don't complain when you're behind everyone else because you didn't push through that. Like, I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, just get over your anxiety. Obviously, there are tools that you need to find and look for to progress. And that just goes for any career, right? But like, especially as artists, like I think just sometimes you run into artists who are very will find certain excuses to not do certain things or to try and like avoid certain things. And it's like, I mean, if you don't want to do that, that's fine. But once again, just know that you're not going to get to point B if you're not willing to do these things. And once again, that just goes back to social media. It's just like, and one thing that you were talking about, like as a producer, I don't want to work with, you know, people who aren't promoting themselves. And for me, like we're going to like all these local shows, and some of these artists, I'm like, wow, they are so good. Like they are really great. Where's their audience? Why did 5 people show up to their show and there's 5 people in the band? You know, it's unfortunate because it's like, not to be mean, but in a way it's almost wasted talent, where it's like, oh, you have all of this other stuff, but the key part that you're missing is the promotion. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with seeking out, you know, someone, a promotions manager, a social media manager, or anything like that. Now, obviously, a lot of the time that's going to include funds, which is unfortunate. But a lot of times too, it's like, well, if you're like a full band, surely you guys can scrounge up some money, especially, you know, if you're putting money into some of these other aspects that could maybe be pulled a little bit and be put into your social media or whatever it might be. So
the thing is, like, there's a million different things you can do for absolutely free.
Yes.
That promotes you. That doesn't take a lot of work. For instance, when I was releasing my song To the Top of Tiger Hill, I literally went online and Googled meme generators because I decided I wanted to do a whole meme campaign. The whole promotion of Tiger Hill was literally just the cheapest, cheesiest, dumbest memes that I could think of and make. And I just blasted the internet with it. And as far as a release is concerned, that was been my personal best release. But the thing that caught me off guard was because of how I did that. And I'm not saying that I had like some amazing release and tons of streams, but it did start getting the attention of other groups that do this job and that were like, hey, this is really cool. We want in on the ground floor before anything's happened. So I ended up having conversations with 3 different labels because of that. Whether it was not necessarily to sign, but to do like some other side stuff with them through their agency. Like, hey, you know, this is cool. What about this, this, and this? And then there was another program that specializes, I forget the guy's name now that I spoke with. It was a very famous and popular YouTube channel that focuses on teaching people how to promote themselves. And they have their own little course and whatnot that they invite people to. And it was, you know, and so they called, they're like, hey, we think you'd be a great candidate for this. And so I had like an hour long conversation with them because I made memes that weren't that funny, that were kind of,
they really weren't.
They weren't great. You can attest. It was painful memes. I did the, you know, literally the stupidest things I could think of. And I was just throwing stuff at the wall and whatever stuck. Yeah. But I got more, you know, comments in person of people like, dude, we love this. This is fun. Yeah. It's entertaining. It's you know, it brought a life to it. And then the next song, I didn't do that and got nothing out of it. Or not nothing, but very little in comparison. Yeah. And there's a lot of different factors, but one of the main factors was the energy wasn't there. The energy wasn't there. And that was because I didn't personally put as much into, you know, promotion. I didn't put fun into the promotion. I didn't put, you know, any kind of emotion into the promotion of that, you know, that next single. And that shows in the reception of how people hear it, you know, or how they, you know, respond to it being released. Do they listen to it more? Do they add it to their playlist? Do they do something with it? Do you get labels or whoever messaging you and contacting you and getting on phone calls with people? You know, does that happen?
Well, and there's just so many like free resources that you can use. And once again, which we've talked about this before, literally copy other people. Yeah. Like copy other people, see what the big artists, especially on TikTok, like what are they doing? What trends are they doing? And make it into your own. And once again, especially if you're in a band, I'm like, surely out of the 5 of you or 4 of you, however many, surely at least one of you is good enough to do social media, like to at least make it decent. So, assigning different roles, the audio did end up not working, but some of what we just talked about with Hexproof in a post-show interview that you will never see. She talks about like strength tests, and I brought that to the guys. I talked about it a little bit with this other guy that I met, and just finding out, okay, what are our strengths and weaknesses as a band, as an artist, and okay, maybe if I'm really good at promotions, then I should take over social media. So whatever it might be, it's just the simple little things. I also want to shout out Julia Adrian. Yes, that is her name. That would have been really bad if I got her name wrong. Julia Adrian Music. She's newer to Nashville. She did this song called Elephant in the Room that she just released. And she did something very similar where she just like would always post a bunch of random pictures of like a room and there's an elephant there, where she would like crop it in. Or she just posted one where she's like, oh, I was at the Met Gala, and it's her and like photoshopped into an elephant costume. And she's like really leaned into this whole elephant thing. And honestly, this song is really good. It's very catchy. Like, it has been stuck in my head for months, even though the song literally only came out last week. And so just little simple things like that. I don't think she probably put that much work into those.
What does it take to do that?
It worked. And it was this very specific niche thing that got people's attention.
The last thing that I want to say specifically about
we gotta let David talk.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
No, you're good.
But the last thing I want to say about this is, remember, it's called the music business.
Yep.
There is a business aspect to it, and
whether you like it or not,
that's, if you want this to be a career, find the way to make money. And that's usually through making sure people know that you have a product. I think about like, name a brand like in a grocery store. How do they get you to buy their product? Whether it's Kellogg's, well, maybe not that one. I don't want to get into that, but like, they've had some stuff recently. But name any brand that you want. Even well, I can't think of any brands right now. McDonald's. How do they get you to buy their stuff? Well, they run ads. They run, marketing stuff. They run PR, which is different than marketing, right? Go and find ways to build relationships and to maintain those relationships, but then also find ways to get what you do to somebody that's brand new, that's never seen you before. Whether that is looking into hashtags, or whether that's looking into using topics, whether that's contacting other pages that do similar things. Talk to people. Literally just hit people up on Instagram and say, hey, I've, what you're doing is really cool. I've got something that's similar, and build a relationship. Maybe don't say, maybe don't just drop a cold DM that says, new song out, pre-save my single. That's it. Sometimes that works, but there's better ways to do it. Remember that every friend you have, if you're in the music industry, is also a connection.
Yep.
I don't mean that in a sense of like, oh, this is, cold-hearted business, but like, if you have friends, talk to them. Say, hey, I got a song coming out. Listen to my song. Find
those business-minded like people. Yeah. Like, for me, that is Atlanta from Hexproof. Like, she runs her own business with hair, and she sees her band as a business, and like, she is so motivated, and like, it has to get done, and we're gonna get it done one way or another, whether it's just me doing it or my bandmates doing it or whatever it be. And so it's sometimes hard, I think, for artists, because they're probably more of left-brained and more that creative side, and they don't want to think about the metrics or the business. Right. And I'm similar to that, but then Dale, he loves looking at statistics and stuff. So it is definitely probably easier if you're in a band. If you're a solo artist, might be a little bit more difficult, but there's still those resources around you.
You have to be able to learn and be willing to learn new skills and abilities.
Yes.
And a lot of that's really not all that difficult to learn. There's a ton of free information online. Google how to start a business and read. Google how to market your business and read. Google how to understand the metrics and the analytics on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or whatever you're using. There's tons of stuff there. Google how to do SEO, search engine optimization. There's a ton of free articles about how to do that stuff. And some are good, some are bad. You have to kind of figure out what works and what doesn't. Some of it's just bad information. there is that. But you read enough of it, you kind of get an idea of like, okay, this is the general concept of what this is.
Mm-hmm.
And you can attempt to apply those things. Right. And as much as we hate to do it, be willing to spend a little money on marketing.
You have to.
You have to
just
spend some money
to.
on marketing.
It's necessary, unfortunately.
You know?
All right, David. So you're part of this podcast too.
Yeah.
So guess we'll let you talk.
That'll do it for this segment. We'll see you in the next one.
Actually, you'll provide like another artist perspective.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to what you have to say.
You guys covered a lot, honestly.
I know. I'm sorry. We're talkers.
No, you're good. I'm just saying, like, I don't really have much to add to what you guys said. I will say, you got to do it. Can't get around it. The whole imposter syndrome thing, like that right there. If you have that, you've already clearly made a decision. Like you don't believe enough in what you're doing to post it.
That's
like,
true.
I mean, if you put something out, it means you believe in it. And I've been in a situation where I put something out and I didn't believe in it, and it showed. So believe in what you post, believe in what you do. Give your songs like a campaign, like they were talking about. Yeah. Like if it's a song, you know, like the elephant one, like give it some kind of a story. And because I mean, we've transitioned from really albums to singles now. So
yeah.
If you have a single, focus on what the song's about and look at every aspect of the song and see how you can use that as marketing material. Make videos. Even like I've seen people do like live videos where they perform it live to a click track, and then someone will film it and put the track over it. Mm-hmm. And so it'll like obviously people know they're not performing that, but it's the live aesthetic mixed with the track. Yeah, and that catches people's eyes. Obviously, when you're filming videos, whatever, make sure you have a background that stands out. Just make yourself stand out in some way, and just be thinking like you have to put yourself in an audience perspective. Like when you're scrolling TikTok, what makes you stop scrolling? Yep. Yeah. It's the background, it's the lighting, it's the aesthetic, maybe the color of the guitar, the song, how catchy it is, like the colors, all of that. It feeds into it. So just the whole, I think we're like, if you've listened to our podcast long enough, it's like, well, some of our earlier episodes were talking about whether or not you feel comfortable posting your music. Like that is pretty self-explanatory. And I think every artist knows, like, if I don't like put myself out there, nothing's going to happen. Yeah. And that's an inward thing that you need to talk to someone about, or like talk to your other artist friends about. But yeah, as far as social media, like there is no escaping it. You have to do it. You have to, but do it smart. I would say we talked about I mentioned the campaign thing, and literally like you could make a ton of content at once and then just like release it, like schedule it. Yeah. So like that's a lot of artists do. Yeah. A lot of artists do that. Like
it's a business. Find a way to maximize your time.
Right. I had a friend who literally she would just make a ton of content for like months at a time, and it would just be her songs that she had already recorded and released or was about to release, and she'd just take little snippets and she made videos, and she had something scheduled to post every other day. And then she didn't really have to do a ton of work after, that kind of big,
and remember, like
doing that, but
when you're doing stuff like that, people have a very short memory for a lot of stuff. Yeah. So like here recently, I scheduled a whole bunch of clips from this podcast where I clipped just different things that I said from my own personal like account and posted a whole bunch of that. And I think last Friday or maybe last Monday was the last one that I had scheduled in my first chunk. And I've looked back and I'm like, well, those didn't really do much, at least how I presented and how I posted. And so I learned something from that. I'm not going to do it exactly like that again. If I do it, I'll change it. Yeah. I'll do something different. I'll change, maybe the how, because I'm going from a widescrreen to a vertical size. Maybe I change how that's framed. Maybe I change graphics. I overlaid, what do you call it? Captions. Well, maybe I can do that differently.
Maybe you can put an emoji over your face so people don't have to look at it.
Maybe I can do that. One, doing something that's different.
The clown emoji.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, is it really that much different though? Yeah. It's kind of a waste of time.
Or the demon emoji.
Yeah.
Probably more fitting.
But I did it. I did a whole block and I gave it time. I gave it 2 or 3 weeks of an attempt, and I mean, I could be totally wrong, but I bet, if I start doing another chunk, people are kind of going to forget about everything that I did. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't catchy. It didn't do anything.
Also, in one of those clips, you literally talk about like reusing content.
Yeah.
Just over and over again. So
yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where I will say this. I totally I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, you should never complain about having to do social media as an artist, because like social media is just such a hard thing to get. And then even when you do like make it and you're big on social media, then sometimes the algorithm still like messes you up and you start losing your followers or losing your views or whatever it be. So that part, I'm like, I get being so frustrated with the algorithm. Why am I stuck in this like 200 views zone, which is a really big thing? Why XYZ, whatever. But once again, it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, that's fine to complain about every now and then. But I feel like sometimes I see so many artists be like, I don't want to be a content creator. I just want to play music. Okay, well, there's plenty of free places where you can play music. But once again, it's not going to be your career. And that's fine if you just want to do it as a hobby. But decide which avenue you want to go with your music.
It's true.
Okay.
Yeah,
guys, you gotta take the next step, like, and we've preached it on the pod, just being the best version of you can be on whatever you're promoting. And just, again, I've said it before, believing in what you're doing is so pivotal, and having a mission and having just in your mind, like doing it like it's something that if you don't get this done, you're going to like, I don't know, like treating it like it's something, the lack of urgency to me.
Yes.
With
that's
artists
a good point.
is apparent, because it's chill, like to go to a show and play in front of 50 people and you get an applause and you're like, people like my music. They may not know, like, it's just, it's so many people just don't know about you. And just imagine the people that haven't heard,
You have to be dedicated to yourself before others can be dedicated to you.
Yes.
You can't have fans if you're not a fan.
And it doesn't stop after, okay, you play a show for 50 people and you're like, wow, that was a really great show. That was one of my best. All right, I'm good to rest now. No, you aren't. I'm sorry. Like, if you want to make this your career, you have to keep going. I don't care if you're opening for Taylor Swift herself. That's you. What's your next step? How are you going to make it past Taylor? Oh, yeah. Or like, you look at her and she's still making money moves and like grinding hard to make sure that she keeps on building her career. It's one of those things where it just does not stop. And I've talked to bands before where they're like, one of our problems with our past bandmates is that we would get some big opportunity and they'd be like, oh man, we're good. We're doing great. I'm good to rest. No, you're not. Like, you got to keep going. And that same thing goes for social media. You can get 1 million views on your past 20 TikToks. But if you're just like, okay, I'm good to not post for a while, then you're going to lose all of those views and followers. People won't care. Right. So,
and if you're playing a show for 50 people and you get done with that show and, you're physically tired because like performing takes a lot out of you, you are not done for that night. If you were
you better stay that whole show.
If you're a rookie artist, about it. whether you're opening for other people and you go and talk to those bands, or if nothing else, you go and talk to every single one of those crowd members that you possibly can, because every single one of them has now heard you. They now hopefully know your name, even if they only know it for the night, right? Because they'll forget maybe by the time they walk out the door, but they know it then, and they remember what you did then. And if they liked it and you talk to them, they're more likely to remember you. They're more likely to go find your stuff. You're building that connection. That's 50 fans right there, or 50 potential fans at least, right there in your reach. Yeah. In the same room as you, that might like your music and be a contributing factor to you having a money income stream making music.
You're about to say
it's right there.
That's another person in the audience that has your Venmo now.
Yeah.
If you're displaying that for your show.
And you can give us money at su-podcast.com.
That's a good transition, because we are going to get to segment 3. think we've had a very productive discussion about this, and hopefully it's helped.
Go post this on your social media.
Yes, and comment down below any tips that you would like to offer
Yes, please.
artists on this topic, because we are not experts, guys. We are just professionals or unprofessionals.
Unprofessionals giving professional
Giving
advice.
professional
There you go.
advice. So
Or professional advice from unprofessionals.
SU.
We'll eventually get it.
You still can't say
I
it.
can't say it. We'll be right back.
Thank you for watching this clip of Successfully Unsigned. If you want to see more content like this in the future, please hit that like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to find us on social media platforms at successfully_unsigned or on our website at su-podcast.com.
Welcome back to Successfully Unsigned, everybody. We hope you had a wonderful break. Went to the
Hope you
bathroom.
posted on social media.
Yeah, and you've heard Dale's wonderful voice explain all of our avenues of social media, which go follow us, subscribe to us.
At successfully_unsigned.
Yeah, _unsigned. Thank you for all your supports thus far. Last segment. What are we talking about, Patrick? Something big just happened.
So we recently talked about on one of our recent episodes about UMG, Universal Music Group, and TikTok, and how they wiped and took off all their music on TikTok, and now they're adding it all back on. So they came to some sort of agreement. I can't really tell if they really said what the agreement was, and maybe they're just not going to disclose that, which, I mean, I guess that's fair, but we kind of want to know the tea.
Like, who caved?
I know that.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that TikTok has to be bought up, or else it's going to go away entirely, because they did pass that law.
Right.
So
Or they
somebody
did
has,
pass it.
yeah,
Right.
somebody has to buy TikTok.
Has it been signed yet? Do you know?
I think
law?
it has been signed. So
That is a whole other conversation where I'm just like, really, y'all?
they just
We trying to censor?
Well, they banned it on, for instance, like MTSU. Like you can't access it through MTSU's Wi-Fi.
that is
That and a number of other
crazy.
apps as well that
No
are owned
way.
from companies that are overseas, and they would MTSU if had of course they have IT security that'll monitor that, and if you do, I believe it said like they would revoke your like internet privileges on campus from that device.
MTSU, you need to chill.
You
That was
chill
a-
out.
but
we're
that was
all
a-
graduated now, so we can
but-
say this. Chill.
But
Right, chill
that's a
out.
state law, not an MTSU law.
Heard.
Tennessee, you need to chill.
Tennessee.
It's not that serious.
right. No.
Let me watch TikTok while I'm in class,
Right.
and the professor's just.
So
Come on.
See,
my
and that
question is-
explains
That's
a
why I
lot
don't
about
have
you.
my master's.
this is me either. This is my question. So all the videos that were muted, take the music. Are they gonna? put the
That's
music
what
back
I've been
on?
trying to
What's
figure out,
happening?
because look, I have a bunch of videos on my TikTok, which, speaking of social media and not posting, my
Slacking.
TikTok, I have not posted on TikTok in so long.
You posted something the other day.
No, on my personal TikTok.
Oh,
But I will say I have been slacking in our TikTok too. Sorry, y'all. That one's on me. This episode is for us, by the way. But yeah, I was trying to figure that out because a lot of my videos are muted, and so I can't tell if they're gonna come back with their music.
mm-hmm.
I'm like trying to look at different articles, and a lot of them have a lot of words.
I think it should. I mean,
Do you know those words?
Not all of them, no.
So that's why we don't know who won. Patrick just doesn't know the words.
yeah.
I'm like, I need like a Cliff Notes version.
yeah.
Or here's Reddit. Maybe that.
That's literally what Reddit was made for.
Okay, I will say this. The other thing that they said, like, I think UMG was like I feel like maybe UMG was the one who kind of caved a little bit, because I think they were like expecting this to like really hurt TikTok, and like people were like, "Oh, that stinks." Like, we're really upset about it, but we're still gonna use the app. I mean, duh. Of course, TikTok is way too big to just stop using because they took away Lana Del Rey songs. I mean, I love me some Lana songs, but I'm gonna still use TikTok.
Well, the reason I'm bringing up the whole thing with the law or whatever is because I feel like TikTok doesn't have the leverage because they need to be bought up. And so
But
Yeah, I
at the
guess
same
I don't
time,
know.
we all know that it's going to end up being the same company that owns them here, just under a different name.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna
don't
be the
know
same
the
people.
ins and outs of the whole like law passing and everything, so that I'm not as familiar with.
If they're purchased here, it's literally just going to be, I think, a lateral move from
Everyone on
Just the
Reddit
change
is
of
like,
names.
here's the thing. They lost basically no money from not being on TikTok. Oh, because they basically got no money from TikTok anyway. Well, isn't that the whole point that UMG took off their music? This was months long. I didn't even realize that. Oh, yeah, it was back in February.
Yeah, it's been a
Yeah,
while.
it's been
Y'all,
going on
this
for a
year's
minute.
going fast.
Yep.
Over royalty payments and AI policies. That was my other question.
the
Like, what is
AI.
that exactly?
Like the AI music now is getting so.
Have you heard
it's
about-
like getting copyright
Yeah.
now? Like it's because it's so spot on.
So, have you listened to Randy Travis's new album? It's taken
What do
over,
you
not
think?
album, but like a single. No, it's interesting. Whether you like him as an artist or not, it's interesting because, to my knowledge, he's the first major artist that is releasing music where the entire lead vocal is AI
Yeah.
as a major artist. Because Randy Travis has some considerable health problems due to age and a number of other things.
Mhm.
And to my knowledge, has not been able to perform, really sing a whole bunch of stuff in quite a long time. And so I listened to the song the other day, and I was blown away. Now I was only listening on like phone speakers, so it wasn't like great speakers
Mhm.
or headphones or anything like that. But at least over a set of phone speakers, I was like, this is spot on. It sounded like him. It felt like him. I didn't hear any like outstanding, artifacts of noise or of weird,
Yeah.
odd things that I would expect. Again, it wasn't over great speakers, so that could completely change the ball game.
No, it's getting
But-
it's getting creepily good.
Yeah.
Like,
And the song was
Yeah.
a good song. I'm like,
and most
man.
rap songs now are made by AI.
There
Like, that
are-
new Kendrick Lamar one with Drake, like dissing Drake or whatever. That
Oh
was
my
AI.
goodness.
Was it really?
Maybe we should
Yeah.
have talked about that.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into that either, but it seems pretty crazy.
Yeah. Sorry, Drake, you got owned a little bit. That's fine.
I will say this. I have seen some really good like covers of there'll be like Lana Del Rey sings, I don't know, some like old country song or something, which I mean she does in real life too, but like it'll be an AI cover or I don't know, or like SpongeBob AI covers are really funny. So like some of it I'm like, oh yeah, that's in good fun, but I
Oh,
do
yeah.
agree like okay, where do we cross the line?
Yeah.
And that's like a whole other conversation. Maybe that
Yeah.
should be one of our episode topics is AI in the music industry.
Yeah, because
Scary.
that's rapidly approaching, and it's scary because
It
it's
is
AI
lot.
is not. I don't want to say it's not creative, but it's based on. I don't know. I feel like it could come in and make the industry stale. I feel like
100%.
like
I mean, that goes for any art. I mean, that you look at all the AI art that's going around right now. I'm like, why would I want to buy AI art? But there's people who want it, and I'm like, no, I want like there to be an actual artist. And I'm sorry if you call yourself an AI artist because you like plug in some things, you're not an artist. It's just no. Also, I wanted to point out one other thing. The videos are still there, but the music was muted. Although there was no shortage of artists breaking the ban, both officially and unofficially. And one of the like official ones was Taylor, and apparently UMG sanctioned promotion around her new album, The Tortured Poets Department. Which can we also talk about that? How Homegirl released a 31 song album that's 2 hours long. Girl,
doesn't shock me
no.
at all.
No, we don't need to be doing all that. But in summary, I could not find. I don't think they are saying who folded, but there's speculation that's UMG, which I feel like could be the case because TikTok really didn't suffer. But I could also see your point of with the ban going on, then maybe TikTok folded. But I don't know.
What would they stand to gain if TikTok folded because the potential ban? What would they stand to gain in bringing UMG back?
True. I don't know.
So I'm thinking like it would be they'd be paying UMG more. It'd be the price, right?
Right.
So they say so basically TikTok would just be like, okay, we'll pay more.
But to what
Damn.
end?
What do you mean?
Like okay, so you're saying you think TikTok might have been the one to fold and pay UMG more because of the potential ban.
Right.
Why would I'm just a little confused, like why you're saying that TikTok might be willing to fold because of the ban and pay them more, unless you think that UMG might have a hand in purchasing TikTok.
Purchasing, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. I think they're involved somehow in the purchase of TikTok.
Yeah.
And so TikTok's like, okay, we want to stay an app and we don't want to fall victim to this ban, so we'll pay you the bottom line. Or we'll come closer to paying the bottom line. So we'll play ball.
TikTok, UMG, let us know which one of y'all fold is. Give us the tea.
When we're discussing my record deal,
y'all, I literally know someone who works under UMG. Might have to hit her up. Or him.
Maybe are they allowed to talk about ongoing?
If it's a friend of yours, Patrick, it's probably a girl outside of our podcast.
Shush. I mean, I'm not going to have this person come on here and say, but just because like I don't want them to get in trouble. Unless we have like, we could do like a silhouette.
Yeah,
we'll do a silhouette and like change their voice.
Yeah.
But wait, low-key, could we?
Seriously.
But yeah, I am kind of curious.
Yeah.
I'm gonna text this person.
Investigative report. Like Patrick's gonna go on a little. We should make that part of our podcast, like an investigative reporting segment, to where we just go to
find out all the tea behind artists,
about music stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just you, like in an air vent.
We just turn into like a celebrity gossip.
Yeah.
Site.
We're a tabloid now.
We're Perez Hilton. Perez Hilton, you're canceled.
TMG.
No one likes you. You're disgusting. You literally ruined the early 2000s for all women everywhere. I hope you're ashamed of yourself. This is not the second time where I have
spicy.
Where I have like called out Perez Hilton, both involving Hannah Montana.
Wow.
I know nothing of it, but
Perez.
Remember our Miley Cyrus segment? I said Perez Hilton because we talked about child stars. I'm like, Perez Hilton, I blame you.
Yeah.
You're asking me if I remember things.
Yeah. That's
and this is why you can reuse content, kids.
This is why you can reuse content.
People like this dummy don't remember, even though he has a master's degree.
But if you'd like to go remember, you can go see some of our earlier episodes and follow the podcast. And you can at su-podcast.com.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for this episode. Go post on your social media. Tell us what we should post on our social media. Please give us 5 stars on Spotify. It really helps our show. Comment,
music, or
subscribe, share with your friends. Anything else? Unsigned Podcast is our TikTok. @successfully_unsigned is our Instagram. All the good stuff. We have so much to promote. There's just so much going on.
Love you guys. We'll see you.